Hello and welcome to day 2 of Celebrate You. This is lesson 1 for day 2, and we're going to talk about paying it forward. It's one of those things that just it has such a great meaning and purpose, and it gives us such a great feeling inside when we're not only the person paying it forward, but we're also the person receiving somebody paying it forward to us. It's kind of akin to random acts of kindness if you think about it. Recently in Minnesota, we had this story that actually went national, and it was a perfect example of paying it forward. We have a Dairy Queen in a city called Brainerd here in Minnesota, and somebody started where they drove up to do their order and they said, "Hey, and by the way, I'm going to pay for the person behind me." And it ended up where it stayed going like that for, I don't know, I think it was a couple of days. I don't know how many hundreds of orders, hundreds of dollars of orders, and then it just stopped. And I always chuckle because I want to know the person who it stopped with. Like, what happened? Why wouldn't you keep it going? How did you not hear about it? So any hoodly, I think it's kind of fun to just hear about those stories and how some of them can really make it a big difference and a big impact. And here it was national news, so that was kind of exciting. But many of us are familiar with the coffee drive up stories. These are the ones where you maybe have gone up and to the drive up window and ordered your coffee drink and then decided, you know what, I'm going to just make somebody's day, I hope, and I'm going to order or pay for their order behind me. Um, so a little trick that I do now, because I have done this and I do get worried that what if the person behind me is ordering the office, the full office coffee order, and it's like a $500 order, right? So I don't want to be responsible for that. I hate to say it like that, but I just don't happen to have that much cash on me or want to spend that much. So now my little trick is I'll go up and I will, if I want to do a pay it forward thing or a random act of kindness, I will say I have, I want to pay $20 towards the person behind me's order. That way I know what limit I'm setting. So moving forward with that, that's just a little tip. Um, I have been the recipient of having somebody purchase my coffee order. So when I get up to the window and they say, "Oh, the person in front of you just purchased your coffee order," I am delighted beyond words. I'm over the moon excited. You would have thought I won the lottery. I get so, so excited when that happens for me. And it's just this simple act that really makes my whole day. And I think you would probably attest to that as well. It's unexpected. And it's just sort of a way that we can, I don't know, come together without having to come together. And for somebody to take the time to think to do that for me just really means the world. So, in turn, I try to do that occasionally as well. I'll go up to the order window, as I told you, and I'll set my limit because. That's just the safety first way to do it. And this one particular time, I was at Starbucks, not a plug, just where I was, and the car behind me, I thought, well, you know what, I'm gonna pay for that person's coffee order. So I did my routine of, hey, I want to pay up to $20 for the guy behind me's order. And she said, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." So anyways, I did that and then I drove off. Now in this particular incident, I when I do these things, the other part to this is you're kind of doing it without having to be talked to or recognized. It's just something you feel good doing, and you're pretty sure the person receiving it is going to feel good. So, mission accomplished, right? We don't need to drag this out and have conversations about this. So, I'm driving off and I am deciding to take a slow way home. So I'm going to go around the lake that's close to our house. So, and I'm going to enjoy my coffee. COVID and all has me enjoying coffee in the car for drives, and I take the long drive home. So I'm in the car and I notice the guy that I bought the coffee for is waiting at the stoplight with me, and he's behind me. And I'm thinking, oh, that's awesome, but I don't need to acknowledge him. He doesn't need to acknowledge me. As a matter of fact, I really don't want him to. My introverted side is starting to come out, so I don't really want to have any interaction. So light changes, I go across, and now I'm on this windy path this road that takes me around the lake and then eventually home. Well, he goes across too. I thought he was going to turn onto the highway, but he didn't. So now this guy is following me. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I start to feel weird about this situation. Like, oh no, what if this guy is a weirdo? What if this guy is trying to follow me and stalk me? Instead of saying, gosh, I wonder if this guy just wants to go home. First of all, maybe he lives over there because he did just go to the coffee shop closest to this area. Or maybe he is just going to tell me thank you and we're going to call it a day. I don't know. But it all of a sudden started to get weird. Why? Because I made it weird. So I'm now getting a little nervous and anxious, and we're driving around and we're getting to, a place where I can now take a right, or excuse me, a left turn and go into some neighborhood. So that's what I decide to do. And I think, okay, if this guy turns left, that's a concern, and that's a sign that this is not good. Again, all orchestrated by my own mind and my own setup. And so I take that left, and would you believe it? He takes the left too. Well, doggone it. Now I've got to take some action. So my action step is to do dial 911. Now I didn't hit the send button, but I was ready. So I pulled over as if I was going to stop in front of a house, and this guy pulls over and I'm ready to hit the button. I show him my phone and he rolls down his window and he tells me to roll mine down. And like a ninny, here I am in what I consider to be dangerous situation. And I roll down my window and he says, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you for the coffee." And I'm like, I had nothing to say. I was like, yes, of course. And then he drove off. And there I sat with my 911 dialed, ready to hit send. And I started to laugh because I realized that this random act of kindness turned into some sort of production because of the way that I changed it. So, lesson learned, if you're going to do this random act of kindness thing, just be ready. Somebody might want to thank you for it, and it's okay. And it's an act that actually gives of ourself, and we release that wonderful serotonin, but when the person receiving also has a release of that serotonin, and they want to make sure that they say thank you, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if you don't want to be known for the person doing the random act, then you might have to think of other creative ways to do that. And I have many, many examples of that. Lots and lots of people will talk about how they leave baggies with wipes and some lotions and potions and whatever, and diapers in bathrooms where there's changing stations, just to leave there for people to use. Or they might just have tuck inside a book at a bookstore. They might put in a coupon, or what am I trying to think of? A gift card to purchase books. So there's so many cool things that you can do that you won't ever have to be known about or have any interaction with people. So those of us who are introverts, as we unite and come together, we can come together also with ways to provide random acts of kindness and pay it forward. So I think one of the things that needs to really be thoughtful, or we need to be thoughtful about, is we live in this society right now that is so quick to notice when our zippers are down, figuratively and sometimes literally too. And I just think we have to really turn that around and start offering up opportunities to tell people when their zippers are up. I think it's really good when we can take the time to say to somebody, how you handled that situation is really cool. I just really felt good about it. I enjoyed being around you when you said those words, or that really resonated with me, or whatever it is that you found to be uplifting for yourself, to let people know that. So often we're quick to point out what didn't work, or what didn't sound good, or what doesn't look good. And what if we just flipped all of that around and started to notice when our zippers are up, and really made the attempts to tell people that, like this whole new campaign? Hey, just thought you should know your zippers up. You are really awesome. And you just did a wonderful thing. Or I was really moved by X, Y, and Z of something you said. I think that it's hard sometimes for us to give compliments, and I don't know why. Because I also know it's really easy to let people know when you're upset. We can just give a look, we can shake our head, we can make a noise, and people know we're not happy about something that's going on. But I also think that energy we put into that, we can take and put into good, and to really let people know we're appreciative, or something they did meant something and moved us, as I said earlier. And I think we need to not be afraid to give compliments. They go a long way. They just do. And that's a really great way to pay it forward for people. Many of us, when we get compliments and it's just sort of out of the blue and unexpected, um, doesn't it just feel good? And even those of us who don't like a lot of attention, it actually does feel good to know that people might have noticed. And it's the small things too, you guys. It's not about having to make a big production and, blow some horns and have a parade. It simply could be, gosh, I just really like your, how about now in these days, your mask. Your mask is really cute. Or I like the way you're smizing, using your eyes to smile. Or, thanks for letting me go ahead of you in the checkout. Or maybe you offer that to somebody. Hey, look, you got a lot less stuff in your cart than I do. So why don't you go ahead and move forward? People are so appreciative, and it really benefits you as well. It's just a great way to release some of that serotonin, that good stuff, that feel good stuff that we have. So I think the other thing is that when we give of ourselves and we're just present in that moment, it really helps us to see and take in things maybe we wouldn't have paid attention to. I think that we tend to overthink how to experience simple things, that we are so busy and we're so mindful of trying to get things done that we don't give the energy to be mindful about what's happening around us that is really good. I'm looking out of my window today and it's snowing here. I live in Minnesota, Minneapolis area, and I'll tell you, it's breathtaking to look outside and to see the snow. Now, I'm not a fan of having to drive in snow, really to walk in snow, be in snow, um, but I have to say that this moment that I took this morning to just look outside and just watch for a while, it was really very lovely, and it actually gave me a really great sense of yay, just calm and peace, and what a beautiful setting. And I felt good after doing that, even though me and snow do not get along. Okay. So I was able to take that, what I maybe didn't appreciate always, and find something to appreciate in it. And that really meant a lot. So my challenge to you is really to start noticing good things that are happening in and amongst some of the things that aren't so great. And I really do think that you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how many wonderful things are happening. There's this great quote by Zig Ziglar, too, to demonstrate how simple it is to make someone's day and to make your own day. And it simply says, when you see somebody without a smile, give them yours. Now, that is easy, sneezy, and breezy to do. You don't need a lot of hoopla around it. You simply smile. And of course, with our masks these days, we smize at somebody and we let them know we noticed. So, how we want to start to look into this a little further is to get to our workbooks and to find the part that says pay it forward. So, if you find that section up at top, the first question, or really the first part of this, is to describe a time when you experienced someone paying it forward to you. Go through the situation and then start really being cognizant of how did you feel, which is the next question, which is to describe those feelings, those thoughts, and the actions that you experienced. Just really think through, what is it that you got to experience? What did that feel like? And then list out some ways that you might be able to pay it forward or to let people know their zippers are up. Really be thoughtful about how you can, in a day, or um, not even by having to leave your house, but ways that you can take advantage of writing a card. The simple act of sending somebody a letter has such meaning for people these days because we're so, tech savvy, and we're sending texts and messages and emails. But the act of writing a card of thanks, or to let you know I'm thinking about you, there's been a lot of research done on this. When people get to the mailbox and see that there's a handwritten card with a stamp for them, it's really exciting, and it does produce this really wonderful feeling. So that's a simple way you can do it. List out some other ideas. Again, you can order food for somebody to be delivered, a coffee. Go to Panera Bread and have something delivered to somebody's house. There's so many wonderful ways that you can just provide random acts of kindness. And again, it's not always about the other person. It's about what it happens to us, how we feel good. So I just want to encourage you to go out there and really just give of yourself and really pay attention to the benefits, not only to the person receiving, but also to yourself as well. All right. So here's the paying it forward. And just for the record, your zipper is up.